Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to celebrate Jana's 50th birthday. Thank you very much for inviting us to an amazing Burns supper to honor your heritage. By the way, have you ever wondered what a Burns supper might be? See for yourself. A Burns supper is a celebration of the life and poetry of the poet Robert Burns, who was the author of many Scots poems. The suppers are normally held on or near the poet's birthday, 25th of January, occasionally known as Robert Burns Day, but more commonly known as Burns Night. But of course this year, everything is different, and we are happy that Jana and Craig invited us to this traditional spectacle. So relax and enjoy the tradition of a Burns supper. The host says a few words, welcoming everyone to the supper and stating the reason for it.
Again, thank you guys for coming. This has been great. Happy birthday to my lovely wife. This is a Burns supper, so we're going to kind of go over what that is. Jana's going to do a little speech on what that's about here in a little bit also. But first, the dinner's going to begin with a Selkirk Grace given by Brenda Bryant, who's down at the end there. So Brenda Bryant's going to be doing the grace. Then we'll begin our dinner with a Scottish tradition of kakiliki soup. So those that don't, it's a lot like chicken noodle. It's very good, very mild. And then followed by Sandy, and he will be doing our piping to our fake haggis. We're going to be having beef Wellington tonight. So that's our fake haggis, beef tenderloin. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a procession that's going to come through here. Then we're going to eat and drink, and before that we're going to drink some, and then after that we're going to drink some more. So there'll be a lot of toasting. There's some drambuie in the middle, but we also have plenty of alcohol here. Killian and Anastasia both are here to help you with whatever you need, and then you can also help yourself. After we get done with dinner, Jana is going to give a speech on the immortal memory of Robert Burns, and then soon after that, Brett is going to be given, which is Jana's brother over there. You can't miss him. He's going to give a toast to the lassies. After he gives a toast to the lassies, Letitia will be giving a toast to the laddies. And then we will have the final entertainment and open the floor to anyone. You'll see that there's a couple books that are out there. So there's some Burns poetry. So anyone that wants to give their take and do a little poetry, we welcome that, and I think once people get started on that, it's going to catch up, and everyone's going to want to hopefully partake. Yeah, the more you drink, the more it'll be fun. So I think that'll be great. So
thank you, Craig, for the warm welcoming, and thank you, Brenda, for the prayers.
Right, it's my honour on Jana's 50th birthday to say the Selkirk Grace. It's believed that Robbie Burns wrote this at the Selkirk Hotel in Scotland, and it's my pleasure now to say grace. Some hae meat and canna eat, and some would eat but want it. But we hae meat and we can eat, so let the Lord be thanked. Amen. Amen.
Now it's time for the highlight of the evening. The procession and presentation of the fake haggis.
most part, here's the piper's favourite. It's the quick he gets for doing his job, really.
There you go.
And this keeps all the reeds well oiled.
Well, cheers. 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 Cheers.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, at every Robbie Burns supper, there's always an address to the haggis. It's a poem he wrote regarding this favourite piece of food, I would call it. Different words, different places. Now, I'll read this in the language basically it was written in, and a lot of it will be Doric, which is up from the north side of Scotland. So I'll read it as we go. You probably won't understand a word I'm saying. It says, "Far fae your honest sonsy face, great chieftain o' the puddin' race. A bean the ma ye tak your place, pinch tripe a therm. Weel, are you worthy o' a grace, as lang's my arm. The groaning trencher there you fell, your hurdy's like a distant hill. Your pin would help to mend a mill in time of need. What through your pores the dews distill, like amber bead." That's a whiskey leaking out through his pores. Yeah. His knife, she rustic label dicht, and cut you up with ready slight, trenching your gushing entrails bright, like ony ditch. And then, oh, what a glorious sight! Warm, reeking wretch. So much for the haggis. Then horn for horn they stretch and strive. Deal tak the hindmost or they drive. That means the devil's after you. Till other wheels swelled kites be alive, are bent like drums. The old guid man mislike to rive, be thankit hums. Is there that o'er his French ragout, or all yo that watch straw a sow? Or for crash would mark her spew with perfect scunner, looks down with sneering scornful view on sick a dinner. Poor devil, see him o'er his trash, as feckless as a wither rash. His spindle shank a guid whiplash, his knee a net. Through bloody flood or field a dash, oh how unfit. But mark the rustic haggis fed. The trembling earth sounds his tread. Clap in his wally neva blade, he'll mak it whistle, and legs and arms and heads will sned like the taps of thistles. That means taken. Your powers will mak mankind your care, and dish them out their bill of fare. All Scotland wants nae skinking wear, the Japs and luggies. But if you wish your grateful prayer, gie her a haggis. Cheers to Robbie Burns. Robbie Burns.
Cheers and thanks to Sandy for his great presentation and fantastic music. What a spectacular dinner it was. In the next part of our Burns supper, the main speaker gives a speech remembering some aspect of Burns's life or poetry. A toast to the immortal memory of Robert Burns then follows.
First of all, I want to thank everybody for coming. It means so much to me to have such great friends. I truly feel blessed. I really do. Everyone complaining and bitching about how bad 2020 was, I can't say that because I made some of the best friends of my life in the last year, and I feel so grateful to have all of you in my life. So I thank you again. But the reason I'm up and speaking is because I am giving the toast to the immortal memory of Robert Burns. And in the past, when I've been maid of honor or matron of honor, I've memorized my speeches and just spoke without notes. But I had a lot of work this week preparing this with Craig. Even though Craig threw it for me, I did a lot of the work. So I am cheating, and I'm going to read off a piece of paper, so please bear with me. But before I get to that, I want to tell you a little bit about the life of Robert Burns, or Robbie Burns. And I don't have the Scottish brogue like our Scottish friends down here, or Letitia, who does it beautifully, which you'll hear later. But I can start by telling you that one of the reasons that I'm proud to be of Scottish descent is because of Robert Burns. There are many other poets and writers, past and present, but few, if any, that have the great respect given to Robert Burns. The Irish have James Joyce, the English have Shakespeare, the Americans have Longfellow, and the Germans have Goethe.
Goethe, very good.
I had to make sure with Sabine I was saying it correctly. But none have the annual feast in their honor, not even the great Shakespeare. And these Burns suppers, like tonight, are held around the world every year near or on the 25th of January. Because Burns was born into a family of poor tenant farmers on January 25th of 1759. And he died, sadly, at the age of 37. But an interesting fact is that at the age of 21, Burns was involved in establishing the Tarbolton Bachelors Club with his brother and other lads. The club was founded as a diversion to relieve the wearied man worn down by the necessary labors of life. Kind of like our club, right?
Yeah.
Kind of the same thing. That's what we do. A young Robert was elected the very first president of this club. The club drew up rules of their membership at their first meeting, a few of which required the following. Okay, I'm going to read you their rules. Number 1, every man proper for a member of this society must be frank, honest, and with an open heart. Must be above anything dirty or mean. And 3, also be a professed lover of one or more of the female sex.
That's right.
The membership also stated no self-conceited person who looks upon himself as superior to the rest of the club is allowed. And 5, especially no mean-spirited, worldly mortal whose only will is to heap up money shall be whatever admitted to the club. These rules illustrate the mindset that formed his life of work and the spirit of Burns' suppers. So I'd like to share one of his poems. While Europe's eye is fixed on mighty things, the fate of empires and the fall of kings, while quacks of state must each produce his plan, and even children lisp the rights of man, amid the mighty fuss, just let me mention, the rights of women merit some attention. Yes, this was before women's lib and certainly predated human rights laws. Burns was ahead of his times, most definitely. But tonight, to spare you the customary, very lengthy speech, I promise. I'm trying to make this short with just a little more insight into the man that Robbie Burns was. Number 1, Burns was a lover of women. His favorite may have been Clorinda, whom he met in Edinburgh. Burns wrote the song, I Fond Kiss, and Then We Sever. After their last meeting and this poem, he said, but to see her was to love her, love but her, and love forever. There is an entire book of letters between the couple, and I will read you one of their letters. Fair empress of poet's soul and queen of poetesses, Clorinda, take this little boon, this humble pair of glasses, and fill them high with generous juice, as generous as your mind, and pledge me in the generous toast, the whole of humankind. He was an amazing writer. He really was. But Clorinda was not his only love interest. Burns had a he had a number of other yes. Yes. Burns had a number of other relationships, and he had 12 children with 4 different women. 9 of which, though, were with his one and only wife, Jean Amour. That's another relationship I won't get into. But I really am going to cut this short. This was just a partial view of the tragically short life in which Robert became a major collector and improver of old Scots songs, a teller of stories, an impressive writer, a farmer and a soldier, not to mention a famous, or perhaps more accurately, notorious lover. So, everybody, I am very proud to give you this toast as I ask you, Scot or not, to fill your glasses and raise them high as you can as I propose to the immortal memory of Robert Burns.
Robert Burns.
Here, here.
Great job, Jana. Well done. In the next part we hear the address to the lasses. This was originally a short speech given by a male guest in thanks to the women who had prepared the meal. However, it is now much more wide-ranging and generally covers the male speaker's view on women. It is normally amusing and not offensive, particularly since it will be followed by a reply from the lassies concerned. The men drink a toast to the women's health.
Okay, so I've been asked to do the toast to the lassies. At first I thought that was a collie, but then I realized from talking to these lovely Scottish folk that that's the ladies. And so I've been asked to do this toast at this supper and birthday party for my beautiful favorite sister. And yes, Bob, you're right. She is my only sister. I knew you were thinking that. Okay. So now, I've never done a toast before. It's intended to be lighthearted. And anybody that knows me knows that should be no problem. So I thought I'd start with a joke or two. So
Keep it to one.
this is what I've chosen. 3 jokes. First one's John. Okay, so now somebody show me how to work this phone. Anya, how did Daddy get in this phone? Okay, so Bob, this is right up your alley.
I'm listening.
Okay, so what is the difference between a Scottish sheep farmer and a Rolling Stones song? One says, "Hey you, get off of my cloud," and the other one says, "Hey McCloud, get off of my you."
That's not bad. All right. He gets one. He gets half a cookie.
So now, this one is for my best friend, my brother-in-law, my friend that my sister took away from me.
Is this another joke?
Tough crowd.
A Scotsman was shipwrecked and finally washed ashore on a small island. As he regains consciousness on the beach, he sees a beautiful, unclad woman standing over him. John, that means naked. She looks at him and says, "Would you like some food?" The Scot hoarsely croaks, "Yes, please. I haven't eaten food for a week and I'm very hungry." So she disappears into the woods and quickly comes back with a basket of food. When he choked it down, she asks, "Would you like something to drink?" And he says, "Yes, the food has made me very thirsty and I would very much like some drink." So he goes off into the woods, she goes off into the woods, and again returns with a bottle of 75-year-old single malt scotch. He just went weak in the knees. The Scotsman is beginning to think, is this heaven? When the unclad woman leans closer and whispers, would you like to play around? Oh, you beautiful woman! Don't tell me you've got a golf course too! Okay, so as I understand, this honor is to highlight women, giving the toast to the lassies, which we all know is the fairer sex, but it hardly seems fair that the women have all the good naughty bits and more than half the money. So that's not fair.
So true.
No, please.
Now she's got me. Now I can't even find where it was. Okay, it is said that Robbie Burns was quite a ladies' man and worshipped the ladies, as Jana told us some of his story, and that's probably why he only made it to 37. So, as a true Scotsman, they all have three loves: golf, scotch, and a beautiful woman. So behind every good man lies an even better woman. And as man has evolved, we finally admit that without woman, we would be lost and not have society. Well, of course, because it's hard to procreate without society. So we as men have grown to elevate, include, and give women their due, finally. Robbie Burns was ahead of his time and wanted to give women their due. So I look at it as hell. We even let them play golf now, because you guys know what golf stands for. The Scots obviously do. Gentlemen only, ladies forbidden. But we finally came around and allowed them to play golf with us too.
Allowed them. I know. We still let them. I mean, it's still on that basis. You all should be grateful.
So now here's a little more information that I'm gonna have to ask for a little help from another friend that's not a Scotsman. But so now, men, look your wife or your date in the eye, because you don't want to suffer the consequences. And Karsten, what are the consequences if you don't look at your significant other in the eye when you toast?
So, you have 7 years of bad sex.
Oh shit!
Now that's
Don't say shit like that.
No,
that's German.
I told you there's only 7.
So, I raise a glass
Go on,
to Robbie Burns and my sister's 50th birthday. To the lassies.
Thank you, Brett. Now it's Letitia's turn to reply to the laddies.
So my response to the laddies, I thank you, Brett,
You're quite
for
welcome.
your kind words. I'm kind of surprised it wasn't a bit more slurred. I did say you knocked back a wee bit of that drambuie, although it could have been whiskey. I was a bit wayward a wee bit. I've been asked to respond on behalf of all the lassies. I'll try my best to keep it classy. We gathered here this braw fine night. I'm hoping that Disney end with a fight. Here goes my response from the fairer sex. An age-old dispute who's more complex. Behind every great man you'll find a woman. Tell him with it today. If he doesn't listen, she'll give him the eye.
till his thinking comes soon. Ruin it her way. We let them think it was their idea. Smiling, nod, and hand them a beer. But I ask you this, where would we be without our knights in shining armor, skinny, rich, and wrinkle-free? Enough the charmers. They say the best way to your man's heart is always through his belly. I say it's letting him decide with what on the telly. They moan at us for our shopping sprees and spending money on shoes. We change the topic, ignore the optic, and just keep topping off the booze. Joking aside, we love them all, our friends, partners, and lovers. And most of all, we thank them all for not comparing us to their mothers. I swear that's true. I jest and I mock her. I'm being a bit of a scoffer, but if truth be told, I truly must say, we wouldn't have them any other way. So whether we're from Doon here or from among the heather, we're all just Jock Tamson's bairns living across the border. I'd like to end this ode in the words of Robbie Burns. He's the reason we're all gathered tonight, and the lads have got cold bums. The finest hours that ere I spent were spent among the losses. The lad we celebrate the night. I ask we lift our glasses. And to the laddies.
Well, that concludes a wonderful dinner with great food, great drinks and great friends. Happy 50th birthday, Jana, and thanks again for inviting us to this special occasion.